to engage right then and there. And I know the times that hurt me. I know when it could look like there's an opportunity and it's really not there. Experience is going to dictate that. And I taught him today that there's going to be a lot of lessons that you're going to learn that are not going to be in my video. They're not going to be in our discussions. It's going to be what you have discovered about yourself. And you're going to find that you're going to excel in certain instances. Something just really revs you up. You see this opportunity. It makes so much sense to you. And you're not demanding it pays more than it would any other time. It's just a profitable opportunity. And you may not have the equity to do 100 contracts at the time when you start doing it. Start with one and you build up. And when you make enough equity to be able to do 2 comfortably and not go over 1.5% risk, then and only then do you do it. But every single trade that you make and put on, it's never to be taken where you can't at least get that same trade paid out to you at least 2 or 3 times in the same day. And I'll say that again in layman's terms for the folks that don't really understand or appreciate what I just said. 1.5% of your equity. If you can't find a trade 2 or 3 times intraday with that yield on individual basis, 2 or 3 times, you have no business taking that risk on. Think about it. Because what you're doing is you're demanding that you find a needle in a haystack. In your limited understanding of the marketplace, in your limited experience doing it, in the most difficult market conditions I have ever been in, you're going to be the person that can just go out there and walk out there and do that. I'm sorry, but you won't. You won't be. So don't put yourself through it and discourage yourself through failure. Make allowances for yourself to spend a little bit more time learning how to do it. Do it the right way. So that way you enjoy the process. It should not be a draining effort for you to want to do this. And some of you, the way you talk in your tweets, it seems like somebody's twisting your arm, and it ain't me. If you're not having fun doing this, it's not for you, or you're grossly doing it incorrectly. Making money is the end result of you doing things, learning how to do it, and having fun having done it, but not being on an emotional high that you have to have a win all the time, or that you're chasing it like a high. And the only way you feel that or understand and appreciate it is when you lose real money. The people that lose real money know exactly what I just said, and it resonates with them. But if you've only been in demo, you haven't even came to the dance yet. You're a spectator, not a speculator. And as soon as you put risk on the line, it all changes. So you have to have some measure of experience that you didn't just get last week watching a 5-minute trainer, the cliff notes of something that took 30 years to be placed in your hands now. There's a lot of things that you're going to learn about yourself, and you're going to laugh when you look back at how you thought you were ready to trade when you were not. You were not. I know I wasn't. There's no shame in admitting it. There's no shame in it. But right now, you would never do that because it sounds like you're not smart enough. That would be like admitting weakness. And that's exactly what my son's struggling with right now. See, he's at the peak of his testosterone. He's at the height of his strength, his muscularity. He's in his mind at his present age, he's at the peak. And young men, you know what it was like when you were a teenager. You thought you could jump over buildings and nobody could kick your ass. You were the best looking person in the world. Everyone wants to be with you. Unrealistic viewpoints of yourself. And see, he did damage to himself. He did damage. And he bragged to his friends. He bragged to his girlfriend that he was going to do this and he was going to do that. And he couldn't do it. Now he has that. He's wrestling with that. And now because he didn't do it successfully, like he walked out and thought he was going to be able to do it, he's doubting. And doubt in a hurt, bruised pride in a man, that's dangerous. It'll make you do stupid shit. It'll make you do dumb stuff. So most of today, it was me just cleaning those wounds, reminding him that that's normal. Dad went through that. I did all that stuff. I did all that stuff and worse. And there was nobody here telling me this is how you fix it. So I was trying to find my way through it all and making it longer than it has to be. And it's painful. So when I talk to you and I make these conversations available to you, it's for your edification. It's so that you don't go through it like I did. So that way you can avoid it and appreciate that. You know what? I don't want to make those mistakes. I'm glad ICT went through it. I'm sorry he went through it, but I'm glad he went through it and he's telling me how I don't have to go through that. That's the wisdom in the student that's listening to me. Not this guy talks and he likes to hear himself talk. No, I don't give a fuck if that's how you think. Get the fuck out of here. You're not somebody that wants to learn. You're a clown. You will be broke. You will be working the rest of your fucking life. You will not be able to be profitable as a trader. So just get the fucking stepping. The people that really want to be here and make themselves a profitable student that trades and earns their own money, they want to know how they're possibly going to mess it up. And I'm not going to talk to you always in a refined manner. I'm live. I don't have a filter right now. So I'm going to feel the impulses and the emotional charge that I remember going through. It's all real stuff for me. I went through this stuff and it was painful. And it's painful to remember what it was like for me. And I know that some of you are going through it right now. And it's normal. And you can get through it. You can grow out of it. Use it like rocket fuel. It'll be the deterrent to never doing those same things again because you know what it's done to you. You don't want to relive that. You have now a reason to appreciate the rattlesnake that those circumstances provide. You know, walking into that situation again, it's like a rattlesnake's tail just shaking. You don't need to go back in there again. You know what it's like. So avoid it. Don't try to push and make money in those situations. Just relax. Take the day off. Take the session off. Don't do it. But ICT, I'm supposed to be an everyday trader. Who the hell said that? It wasn't me. So having a very, very low expectation of yourself. Yes, 5 handles is a wonderful target. Realistic target. In the beginning, if you're absolutely scared to death, if you're scared to death of taking trades and you don't want to get into a trade because you're just afraid to do it, feel what it's like to desensitize yourself to go in and execute and put a limit order on one handle. Put a trade on. If it runs up one handle, it will close the trade out, and that's one handle. It's $50. It's not a lot of money. And if you do this over and over and over again with a demo account, you will get over the fear of entering. Then you add one more handle to it. Put on an entry, reach for 2. And you'll see, even with static price action, if you know where the market's likely to go, doesn't mean you're right. This means that this is the next draw on liquidity. This is where the obvious equal highs are. This is where they haven't been all day. Let's aim in that direction. And then put a trade on and try to go for one handle. And do that all day long, working with the 1-minute chart. It's not about how much drawdown you have. Don't worry about that, because if you're trying to measure that, you need to get into the pushing of the button and just looking for a small transaction. That's it. Over time, by gradually working into one more handle, up to 5, you'll completely desensitize yourself to the outcome. It won't matter to you because you've done it so many times, you're bored by it. You don't care. But think about what you're doing with your demo account right now. Think about what you're doing with your compound challenges. You're gambling. You're literally gambling. The whole time you're doing it, you're scared. You're anxious. You're hoping and praying you can get that certificate that says you're funded because you can't wait to go on social media and show it. But you're never going to show anything after that. Because chances are you probably will blow it when you get to the funded level. Nobody will see your payouts, certificates or confirmations, but you did something. You showed the world that you got funded. You passed the combine. I don't want any of my students thinking that's a success story. That's not. That's just, okay, you showed up to the dance, now dance. All these certificates, they're wonderful little hurdles for you to get across in the beginning. I'm not trying to minimize that. If you've never done it, wonderful, that's where you're going to go. But you have to have some kind of vision beyond that. What are you going to do once you are funded? Because chances are you're not really responsible. You're not organized. Unless you're thinking like I'm trying to suggest to you in my teachings and lectures and here tonight. You have to have some measure of controlling yourself and thinking about things correctly. Don't just go in impulsively try to execute. My son, my own DNA, flesh and blood, there was no magic because he came from the fruit of my loins, okay? There was no mystical, magical powers transferred to him. He did like anybody else would. Do the wrong shit, well, here's your results. Impulsively tried to do something he wasn't ready to do. And now he has the mental baggage from it that I told him, and I tell all of you how you can avoid all that. So now he has to wrestle through all of that pride, that bruised ego, and concerned about what if he doesn't really still learn how to do it. You have no idea the impact that has on a person, especially a male. We are performance oriented, from sexuality to physical appearance to workplace, sports. We are all about measuring. It's all it is. It's measuring. And ladies don't think that way. And that's why they're better traders. So if you cause the damage in your psyche early on, you will carry that the rest of your career. You might become better at coping with it, but it never goes away. It'll always be that little limp, that little crick in your back, that little bum knee sensation you get when it rains. It'll always be there. When you do certain trades, it'll jog your memory of it. And then while you're in a trade, you'll be thinking about, man, that was a dumb trade. Is this going to be like one of those again? Are you focusing on that trade? Or are you worrying about and reliving and having a flashback moment and having a PTSD episode? As soon as you lose sight of your trade, in the beginning, not 30 years later, but in the beginning, as soon as you lose focus and you start having your attention somewhere else, close the trade. You've lost the plot. Oh, this guy just said close. You need to reward yourself for being disciplined. Discipline is not taught. You can't buy it in a course. You can't read it in a book and acquire it. You can't have a 5-minute trainer or Cliff Notes edition of anything, my stuff or anyone else's, and get discipline. It's forged through pain, struggle, and finding the outcome that is favorable that you couldn't identify or see at the time. And because over time you do these types of things, and you know what it was like to be going through it painfully, doing things that you shouldn't do, taking on more risk, taking on more contracts, because I know what you're thinking. It's the same thing that I've talked about and my son lived it. They will tell you that you can trade up to 15 contracts if you use a $150,000 account. Sure. Sure you can do that. And you're thinking, well, it's worth the risk. It's like a lottery scratch off. It only cost whatever it was. I don't even know what they cost to get the combine started. But what happens if it works, man? It's like a big shortcut, because if I can get the funded, something magical is going to happen. I'll learn how to trade then. It sounds funny, and probably some of you are laughing at you. That's exactly what you were thinking too. As long as I got to the funded part, then I'll know what I'm going to do. I'll pick the right trades then. I'm in a hurry. I just want to get through that first stage. And these funded companies are loving that. They're making lots of money with reset fees. You can do this But you have to change how you think. You have to lower your expectations, and that's not a bad thing. Trade with one contract. Trade with one contract. And I promise you, this is what you're going to have happen. You're going to use one contract. You're still going to trade impulsively. You're still going to get in there because you want to have something good happen. And then you're going to go into drawdown. And that one contract, you'll have 3 handles, becomes 7 handles, drawdown. Stop. You can afford to trade more because the max loss day, whatever it may be, you're not there yet. Still, stop. Can you stop? 99% of you won't. That's a problem. That is a problem. Because if you can't control yourself and say, you know what? I can stop right now and I'll come back tomorrow. Even if this does move where I thought I was going to go today, or if it moves even way beyond that, it doesn't matter because you weren't in that trade, so you can't regret it. You weren't in that trade, so you can't regret it. You have to start somewhere, forging discipline, being self-responsible, and that way you know that you can control yourself in the future and you can trust yourself. Because what you're doing, and you don't realize it, you're pushing the button in these instances with a demo account or in a combine because you know that you wouldn't be losing that money. If it's wrong, that money is not coming out of your bank account. It's not coming out of your live equity. So it gives you this false sense of security. And it's also, it feels like you have all upside, no downside, but you still have to pay for a reset. And you're paying in time. You're wasting time instead of just doing it the right way. Every one of these combines, every single one of them, all of you could do it in a month. All of you could do it in a month. But all of you want to do it in the minimum time. All of you want to do it in some guy's challenge on YouTube. Do it in this amount of time. How about make $5 million after taxes? Let's talk real money. Okay? Stop with the Mickey Mouse shit. All these challenges, do this and do that. No. I'm teaching you how to be the best trader that you can be. And if you want to listen to other people tell you shit, you're welcome to do that. But that combine, whatever company you're using, every single one of them are Mickey Mouse level easy. They collectively understand that you are going to do what I've been talking about in this entire Twitter space tonight. You're going to be reckless. You're going to be impatient. You want to just get through that first step, that unprofitable, unfunded challenge, that contest. Who are you competing against? You.